My name's Andy Connell. I'm the Business Development Manager for the Food Division here at Stancold. So Stancold have been around for an awfully long time in the industry. We've seen a lot of change in that time and we've kept up with it, which is lovely. We do a variety of work, not just for sort of tier one contractors in building mega factories, but also for end users directly. We've got a portfolio of clients that we've worked with for a very long time, dealing with upgrades to their factories and their environments, and then large scale projects when they need new ones.
Hi, my name is Dan Bartfield. I am the Assistant Marketing Manager for Stancold, in charge of the marketing and communications for our food projects division. So at the end of the day, I think what makes us stand out is our experience. I've been at the company for about 1.5 years now, but we've been doing this as a company for over 75 years, coming on 80 years now. And there have been people in the company who have been here for 20+ years, just building on that experience of working in food safe production areas and helping food producers reach that next level.
Hi, I'm Andy Croxton. I'm the Managing Director of Stancold. A lot of our team have been employed and working either on the tools and worked up through the ranks, but just understand how live environments and food factories work. So from that, we've built a platform of customers who rely on us to be their partner really when they're fitting out or doing work inside their live sites.
So we support the food and beverage industry by providing bespoke internal environments that help meet their process goals so they can reach the next level of their operations.
So these need to be created in controlled environments in a hygienic manner, and the systems that we install in a client's facility allow them to do that. Often these are a range of interconnected rooms with freezers, chillers, and that kind of environment, as well as production areas. So a recent project we've done is for a brewery client. It's interesting to see how businesses change. When they had their factory built, they had a massive cold room put in with the anticipation they'd be holding stock on site for a duration before it would go out the door. Their stock is incredibly popular. So basically everything goes straight out the door and they no longer have a requirement to hold temperature controlled stock on site. And instead we have built them a temperature controlled room in which to keep their hops, which is a much smaller environment and in a different part of the factory.
So just recently we completed a production area fit out for a savory goods producer in Cornwall. They were looking to expand their product range and needed to use an unused area of the factory for production. So we were able to go in and install a bespoke system of white wall partitioning to suit this new production process and get them up and running with the new product.
We're in the process of seeing a shift about how refrigeration works. So historically, there's been a range of systems on the market and a range of products which use effectively man-made chemicals to provide the refrigerant. It's ruinously bad for the environment, and there is actually an initiative in place in 5 years' time, around 2030, you'll no longer be able to get these products. So we're trying to see a shift towards more sustainable refrigerants, such as CO2. There is a much higher upfront cost to install that system, but it's a system that you can trust in for the next few decades rather than something which is going to be obsolete in 5 years. The follow-up refrigerant, the CO2 that runs that system is also far, far cheaper than any man-made refrigerant. So while in the short term it's more expensive, in the long term it's significantly more efficient, significantly more sustainable, and will help us stave off the Mad Max end of the world.
The businesses that most benefit from working with Stancold are food and drink producers in the UK that are looking to expand their business operations.
They've got an existing site and they need to fit more into that site, or they're looking to move to a new site. That's the right point to engage with us. We can give clients very early, high-level budgetary numbers so they can work out their complex CapEx spends. We can give them some input onto what is a good functional layout, and anything from our years of experience which will help feed into making their project more achievable, more efficient. So we've got quite a large team here. We deal with multiple projects at a time. One of the things that you get from us is you get a dedicated project manager and a contracts manager who will be assigned to your project. They'll be your point of contact for everything that's happening in and around the project. We have various degrees of meetings and handovers before a project goes live, preparation of drawings and making sure we really understood what the client's looking to achieve.
Well, effective communication throughout the project process and the sales process to make sure that you're kept up to date with every update that we have regarding your project. Well, staying ahead in an industry like this is really making sure that we have all the information we need to best help our clients. And a lot of times that's things that aren't really relevant to us, such as other elements of their business that they need to keep on top of. By understanding the major challenges and opportunities facing our clients, it helps us better serve them. It helps us better understand their processes. It also helps us better understand what's facing them and how we can help with that.
We subscribe to a number of organisations, a number of newsletters, and we have people within the business whose task it is to stay abreast of those things and communicate those changes to the rest of the business. I mean, a great example is BFBi. We're part of BFBi because it allows us to be in close proximity with our clients to understand the challenges that they're facing, the changes that they're facing.
But outside of that, we also look to train our staff. We work locally with companies who can provide training, which have really helped us understand some of the regulations around food manufacturing. That doesn't help our business as such, but what it does is it helps us understand our customers' businesses so that when we're making suggestions, we're coming from a point of knowledge.
So working at Stancold, you have a very nice mix of people who have been in the industry and the company for a long time and people who bring in very valuable outside experience. And when those two things are put together, what comes out of it is a really well-rounded perspective of the industry and how we handle our operations.
You know, we've got folks who've worked here for 20 or 30 years and they're, full of experience and they've dealt with unusual situations and typically a lot of now obsolete products, which although we wouldn't install them new, we often encounter when we're doing a project in a historic location.
Hopefully challenging, hopefully rewarding. We're a business that's looking forward, looking to support our customers, looking to use technology to, at every turn, ensure that we're supporting our staff and our customers to deliver all of their goals and their objectives.
Well, it's that we're just not limited to food projects. We also do work in the industrial partitioning industry with things like firewalls and fire-rated partitioning, and we do a lot of work in the pharmaceutical industry as well.
We also deal with industrial environments, so partitioning, often fireproof partitioning in the the new industries like data centers, like battery factories, that kind of thing. So we can often bring our experience from running that kind of project into running a food and beverage project.
So a whole range of other projects which we undertake, and not only for end users, also for some of the large tier 1 main contractors. But we don't let this muddy our message. Our teams are very much organised by expertise. So if you're working for a food client, you'll be speaking to an expert. If you're working on a firewall project, you'll be speaking to one of our firewall experts.
So to a certain extent, the earlier that a producer gets in contact with us, the better. Well, we do a lot of work for people at the incredibly early stages of a project when they're purely just thinking about what they need to achieve to expand. We can provide high-level numbers, we can provide early drawings, and it helps people get an idea of how much money they need to spend to achieve their goals. At that point, we can follow that through for the rest of the stage. We can work with their consultants if they've got architects and other food industry experts involved in the project. We can tie in our work to the other project specialists that they have working with them. We can produce the plans, we can produce the costings, and we can help them adjust those things going forward until they've got a finished product that they're happy with, and then we can crack on and build it.
The first thing a client could expect when they call Stancold or email Stancold is us to go out of our way to get a high level of understanding about what they need to accomplish with their project.
When a client comes to Stancold, the critically important thing for us is that we understand that the journey they're on. So often the narrative about why they're doing a project and what their future goals are help us to tailor the experience that they're going to have and to make sure we're providing the right solution to their project. So we've been running a great project up at Kendal Nutricare, up in the frozen north in Kendal, unsurprisingly. So they are the producer of powdered baby milk in this country. And it's been a real privilege to work with them. They've got a great factory there, but as the needs of the industry has changed, they have needed to make a program of upgrades. So we've done multiple projects on site in sequence, and these are not just technically complex, They are logistically complicated. They have incredibly tight working conditions, given the nature of the product they produce. The entire factory is a high care environment. We need to be able to work in that environment without disturbing the rest of their operations. You've got incredibly tight shutdown and clean down times, so we have a very limited amount of time to get into a space, to work in there, to turn around that space on time, so that they can go back into production without having an adverse sort of financial effect on their business. And it's great to have been trusted to roll out that program of works.
Well, if a food or drink producer is ready to take their facility to the next level, we invite you to drop Stancold a call or an email and talk to our team today.
Love to hear from you. We'd love to understand the narrative of your project so we can give you a great final result.